I'm telling you, Adobe, Mrs. Adobe, okay, Madam Adobe, Queen Adobe, Your Majesty, Your Royalty, Madam Miss, what do I call you? You did such a beautiful job with this book. I'm sure you know is our first book. You did such a honestly, this book is everything. What's up, world? You are welcome to Nestele. Guys, today's book is like so exciting. I cannot wait to share. Oh my god. Today I'm talking about Adaobi Tricia Nwaubani's book, I Do Not Come to You by Chance. Guys, okay, first of all, if this is your first time, welcome to Nestele. I am Nes. We sit down here and talk about books. And this month, the month of April, we are discussing Nigerian books. I'm going to cramp as many Nigerian books as possible into the month. And oh my god, this book, I read this book before, yeah, but I didn't know that I was going to be this excited when I read it again, because I felt like if I was going to talk about it, it made sense that I read it so I know what I'm talking about. But I swear the book hits different afresh. Does that make any sense? Has that ever happened to you when you read a book before and you're like, this book is good, then you read it again and you're like, this book is really good? Anyway, this book, this book is good. okay, let me relax. Okay, so I Did Not Come to You by Chance is a book about 419 in Nigeria. Now, we know about scammers in Nigeria. We call them Yahoo and all that. But I'm talking of like sometime in the early 2000s. It's a story that details that details the life of a young man who became a 419er, a scammer, and how he went about making as much money that he did. Now, I have to say something. A lot of times when you hear some of these stories, when they tell you something about maybe they arrested someone, they say the person has successfully scammed banks or governments. Like, I forgot who it was. They said I scammed one particular government of almost over $100 million. I'm like, this book has to be lying. It's not possible. This book actually explained how it is done. So, at the end of this video, towards the end of this video, when I'm done discussing this book, I'm going to talk about how they do it and how you can avoid getting scammed. As a human being, it's not even a Nigerian thing, because the possibility of everybody getting scammed is very high. Now, I have to warn you, I am not going to guarantee you that there's no spoilers, because this book is so exciting to me. It is so exciting. It's like I can't tell you. See, I don't expect any filter. Do you understand? So if you're worried about spoilers, maybe you should find the book. It's available in most bookstores. The book was written in 2010 or so, or 2011, thereabout. Go find it somewhere, read it, then come and then we can talk, okay? But if you don't mind, chill. Just stay as it is now. Just chill. Let us continue the book. So, this book follows the life of Kingsley. Kingsley is this young boy who had lived his whole life believing that honestly, the main story actually starts from Kingsley's parents. Like, the prologue is the Kingsley's parents, how they met, how they became who they were. Kingsley's dad was this kind of, in the East we used to call them Onyochan Neadioji. Do you understand? A man who is Nigerian and black, who acts a lot like a white person. Not necessarily, it's not actually shade. It's just the way you behave, like your mannerisms. You're someone that just believes like, everything should be done properly. But when you mean proper, you actually mean the way it is done in the West. So he was someone that believed a lot, as Kingsley's dad, someone that believed a lot in, the quality of education, the quality of morality, the quality of value. So he was that guy. That's how he raised his family. And he has his first son called the Okpara. His wife, Augustina, him and his wife, Augustina, has the first son, Kingsley. He's Okpara, that's what they're called. Okpara is the firstborn. Okpara is kind of like, you don't take over being a dad or anything, but a lot is put on you as the first son, because you have a lot to take care of concerning the family. You're the one that your siblings tend to how do I put it? Model their lives after you. So there's Kingsley. So the story now is following Kingsley. So it's like the background we get is basically how Kingsley is raised, the kind of family it was and all that. So Kingsley finishes school. He takes school very, very seriously. Those kind of people that always came first, did everything within his power to make sure that his grades were always good, because he knew that when he finishes school and he comes out, he gets a job, he'll be successful and he'll be happy. And he'll be a good man and be able to take care of his family and all that. His father had studied outside the country, then married his mom, who was kind of like a village girl. I put village in quotes because she was educated, but her father didn't see why they should put her through school. That's after Kingsley's dad married her, took her outside the country. She did her master's, I think, clothing and textile. Came to Nigeria, she opened it up. So their life was actually relatively good. The man got a job with civil service, or I think worked in housing and works or something like that. And so they were doing well and all that. But you know how Nigeria is. After, I think it was sometime in the 80s this had happened. So it's like between the 80s and when the book starts, which is, like I said, either in the early 2000s or late 1990s, a lot of things had changed. A lot of people had been let down by the government. Inflation was a problem. So it's like somebody that was earning, let's say, 300,000 then. 300,000 is a lot, but someone that was earning, let's say, 100,000 then was probably balling in the 80s. But in the late 90s, you were broke, earning 100,000. So it's like the money, this thing became a problem, and then worse, Kingsley's dad became sick. He had diabetes. So Kingsley had finished his school. He studied chemical engineering, and he had been applying for a job like this back to back. And then there was no, like, there was no email that you could check with your phone and all that. It was you go to the post office and collect his mail and all that. So basically, it was his life, what his life was before, because they were put in two parts, or were they three? I think it was three parts. What his life was before he was introduced to this life as a 419er. Now, of course, there's so many things that break the camel's back. There was a thing that he was kept on looking for a job and it wasn't working. So it's like his family was suffering. They had put a lot on him. He was the firstborn, so a lot of the money that the family had, they spent on him, trying to put him through school. So 2 years after he had graduated, his dad had a stroke. No, had diabetes. So that affected, medicals, money. A lot of money went down like this. Things like pension was a problem because he had to stop working. That's the dad. And then there was this girl. There's so many things, really. It's like girls are always spoiling guys' lives. There was this girl, Ola. He was so in love with Ola. Him and Ola were going to spend the rest of their life together. Ola was like in second year or third year in school when he graduated, and so it's like in his mind, by the time the girl graduates, he would have gotten a job and he'll be able to marry his Ola, and they will live happily ever after, in addition to him taking care of his family and all that. But he didn't have a job, so Ola finishes school and dumps him. Doesn't just dump him, dumps him in the worst possible way. And because somebody that had more money, because Ola also came from even a less privileged background, because her dad had left the mom with like 4 girls because he was looking for a boy, and the woman basically sold buka to support them. So the woman, Ola's mom did not have that kind of patience. She didn't have any of that kind of time. So somebody that had money came and he was like, baby, you have to marry this guy, let go of that idiot. And it was what it was, like that. So it's like all this came together. Then the father had a stroke. They couldn't take care of hospital bills, and like in between all this, it called to attention the issues that have to do with the medical sector in Nigeria. The hospital refusing to accept the dad when he had a stroke in the middle of the night because they had to pay money. I'm like, who carries that kind of cash? It's not now that we could use ATM or you could do transfer. Then we couldn't. You had to go to a bank. It was a Sunday or Saturday night. They had to wait till Monday to go to a bank. That's how they started running around in the middle of the night looking for people to beg for money, that's how they got to you. So like all of this, I know the way stroke is like the first 30 minutes, 1 hour, I think is the major. It's very important after stroke. So they took him to the hospital. Then eventually he was unconscious for weeks. In between all these bills had to be paid. They had to now move the man to somewhere else. There was no money. Do you understand? It was so bad. So Kingsley goes and finds this. They had an uncle that had money. The father hated this uncle. This uncle stayed in their house when he was young and he came from the village. And they did not like the man. The man was very corny. He kept on doing a lot of things. He was a very corny guy, and all that. And he met with this guy. The guy had a lot of money. Everybody knew what this man did for money. He was a scammer. He was a 419er. The 419 in Nigeria is a word that we use because in our law, I think it's against the 419 code, something like that. In law, whatever, that's what it's used for. I don't want to get into that conversation. Maybe I write it here so that I can understand why 419, the number, is used. So anyway, that's how Kingsley goes and meets this guy. The guy gives him money, and after taking care of the dad eventually dies. Of course, before the dad died, this guy, Cash Daddy, or Cash Money, that was what it was called. Cash Money had told Kingsley, see, I want to introduce you to this work because your sister is suffering. He had 3 younger siblings. Your sister is suffering, your mother is suffering, your father is suffering. It's not worth it. I'm going to introduce you to this work and all that. So this Kingsley, who was a very good boy, raised in a great family, after his father died, like I said, something just broke. His father died, his girlfriend left him, and they were broke. He didn't get a job, and he decided to do this job. And so that's what this whole book is about. Now, why you should read this book? First of all, reading this book will open your eyes to the way a lot of these things happen. The way I feel like I like it because a lot of times when we think about 419ers, we just think these are criminals that have been criminals from the jump. I'm not going to sit down and defend the act because I'm not saying it's good. I'm against it, you get. But understand that the life of crime has nothing to do with the way somebody is raised. Sometimes it's just life serving people hot, and they do something about it, and sometimes what they do about it is turning to a life of crime. Sad, but it's the realism of these things. So Kingsley became, actually, not only did he become a 419er, he became a kingpin, because he was very smart. We forget that part. He was a very smart man, so he knew how to write the letters, how to send the emails, how to do all those things. And back then, when things like cyber cafes were still a thing, time's up. I set the timer for myself because I didn't want to overtalk. Anyway, so because of this, the kind of person that he was very smart and all that, so he understood the way these things work, the way the letters are perceived, the best way to write it. So him and this guy, how they were scamming people. And okay, let me explain how they scam people of that large amount of money. That's what I talk about, the 100 million. When people are reaching 100 million, they can come to a bank and tell the bank, see, okay, the one that Kingsley was running for himself there was this guy, he pretended to be writing a letter as Sani Abacha's wife, telling them that how everything from them had been taken away since their father died, but that there was one money that he had kept somewhere in one particular account somewhere, and that since we have this money now, we can give you a bit of it if we can just use you as a go-between to collect that money. But what they now did, that by the time they finished convincing the man that, see, these people, the white man will meet them. Do you understand? The person that they are scamming would meet them like this. But one thing that they wrote on was that a lot of times they said that all black people look at them, so they cannot tell one apart from the other. So your meeting them does not mean that you know them. You get. So you meet with them and they assure you that, see it here, this is what the problem is, blah blah blah. So and they have steps, there are different plans that they work with. You get. So when they do this, they now tell you, okay, see what will happen. If you can bring this money, we'll release the money and then you can take your share. Most times it's a ridiculous amount of money. Do you understand? Most times it's maybe you can tell you the money is $95 million, and if you release it, I can give you 10%. $95 million is 10% of $95 million is 9.5 million. The man does not mind bringing up to 100K for this. So what then happens is that they tell you, bring if you can bring $25,000 for now, so that we can use it and do something. Then when you now get agitated, where's the money now? Where's the money? They tell you, okay, see, if you can bring that, see, the only thing that is blocking now is that how Nigeria is, it's very corrupt, blah blah blah. Why don't you bring another 10? Why don't you do that? So just like that, they don't collect money from you, collect. And it's most times when you hear a story of a 419er that is people are hitting and money is coming, most times it could be just one person or one particular group of people that they are scamming consistently. It's so sad. So Kingsley is somebody that in the beginning of the book, I'm with him, but the instant he started this life, I just couldn't be with him anymore. So the emotions are going like this. Oh my god, I can't wait for this thing to make it to the movie. Oh my god, if this is some Godfather type, it will be so good. The Cash Daddy guy, I kept thinking, who can act this guy and do it well? A beautiful studio should come and take this movie, because I swear it will be so good. Anyway, so this book is the bomb. I think if you read this book, you're going to understand the way the 419 mind works. What then happened to his family? You'll be curious about what happens to Kingsley's family after that, how his siblings accept this life that he has, enjoying the money that he makes, knowing what he does, but he cannot tell them about it, but they know what he does. Then his mom, who is basically traumatized by the fact that that her first son is now doing this, even though he's able to take care of his family and all that, but she's caught in between. Do you understand? Because okay, you're taking care of your siblings and all that, but you're doing this horrible thing that I hate. So why don't you just go get a job? Why don't you go and get a job? Go and get a regular job. Apply to Shell, apply to Chevron, and after a while, Kingsley's you know what? I am doing these things for you guys. Why don't you just behave yourself, accept and appreciate what I'm doing, and leave me alone. Let me do what I'm doing. So anyway, there are different layers to this thing, because in the end, his mentor is running this huge rig where he has several people that are there, as it's a big, let's call it a lab, they call this CIA, Central Intelligence Agency or something like that, where a whole bunch of people just sit down in front of laptops, sitting down, compiling messages and sending like that. So it's you make any money that you make while you're there, you give, I think 40% of it goes to Cash Daddy. So it's Cash Daddy is making money despite whatever, oh, this book is good, I'm telling you. Adobe, Mrs. Adobe, okay, Madam Adobe, Queen Adobe, Your Majesty, Your Royalty, Madam Miss, what do I call you? You did such a beautiful job with this book. I'm sure it's her first book. You did such a, honestly, this book is everything. But I have to ask, I read Buried Beneath the Baobab 3. I'm going to put the link here because I did that book last year. You went up north and did research on that book. Did you do research with this one? Because I felt like you know a little too much. It's as if you had been there, as if it's as if she had been, I don't know, does that make any sense? She had been there, she had seen things, because it was just too smooth and then the writing is just too good. Hey, this book is good. So yes, you should read this book. It's very good. I found it on BAM Books. I didn't see it on Script. That surprised me. But it's on BAM Books, and every single bookshelf, every single bookshop you look for, I am pretty sure you're going to find it. Any book that sells Nigerian listing. This book is, like I said, it's 10 years old now. So the book is wonderful and it's worth the read. Honestly, the excitement cannot pass this thing. Anyway, woo! I've talked today. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe and leave a comment below. What do you think about this whole 419 scamming situation in Nigeria? It's giving Nigeria a very bad name, making us look bad everywhere. But for foreigners that may be watching, understand that while the group of people that do this thing, not all Nigerians, like, don't do this thing where every single Nigerian, all of them are scammers. That's not true, okay? Please, that's not true. We're not all scammers. So that being said, please leave a comment below, subscribe to Nest Telly if you haven't already, and then like this video so that more people can watch it, because this book I think everybody should read, okay? So please try and get as many people as possible to read this book, because it's going to be totally worth it. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.